Hello everyone! Today I will introduce to you the auxiliary functions in the element editor. There are 5 auxiliary functions: grip to the ground, add trace line, add trace polygon, draw by intersection, and draw by perpendicular. The first is grip to the ground, which allows for vector objects that are not fully attached to the ground or hovering in the air to be gripped to the ground and thus ensuring the accuracy of the vector elevation data. Click on Grip to the Ground and a parameter box should appear. The search radius sets the value of the radius on the XY plane in which to search for surrounding points. In this case, I will set this value to 0.5 meters. The height threshold indicates the distance between the current vector point that needs to be gripped to the ground and the actual ground. If the distance between the actual ground and the vector point is greater than the set distance, it will not be gripped to the ground. In this case, I will set the value to 5 meters. After selecting the object that needs to be gripped to the ground, double left-click and the software will automatically calculate and grip the selected vector object to the ground. The second is Add Trace Line, which enables the user to trace vectors in the viewing window and collect line features. First, under Vectors, select Lane Line. Then, click on Add Trace Line in the element editor. Select a point near any vector and left-click to start collecting points. Move the mouse to add the corresponding points and reverse the traced path to remove the collected points. In this case, there are 2 ways to trace lines. First, if the 2 lines are not connected, we need to left-click where the first line ends and left-click again on the second line to switch paths and continue tracing on the second line. Alternatively, if the 2 lines are connected, we only need to move the crosshair to the second line to continue tracing and do not need to click the mouse during the tracing process. Double-click to end tracing, and a point will be added at the nearest point of the double-click. Right-clicking during tracing will clear any ongoing tracing. Third is Add Trace Polygon, which allows the user to trace vectors in the viewing window and collect polygons. First, under Vectors, select Crosswalk. Then, click on the Trace Polygon button in the element editor. Select a point near any vector and left-click to initiate the tracing process. Move the mouse to add the corresponding points and reverse the trace path to remove them. If we need to switch to other polygons to continue tracing, the procedure is the same as with Trace Line. Double left-click to end the current tracing, and a point will be added at the nearest point of the double-click. During tracing, right-clicking clears any ongoing tracing. Additionally, there are the 2 functions of Draw by Intersection and Draw by Perpendicular, which users can utilize when doing a facade survey. Both of these functions can be applied to line layers and surface layers. Draw by Intersection allows the user to draw polylines or polygons based on the intersection of 2 adjacent lines. It should be noted that this function requires that all points must be on a plane, so a reference plane needs to be determined first. We can decide the position of the reference plane and the buffer zone according to the requirements in the Begin Quick Horizon section toolbar and checking Lock. In this example, we can use the surface layer and apply Draw by Intersection. This process takes a total of 4 points, with the first 2 collected points to determine a baseline, a third point as the anchor point, and a fourth point to establish an intersection. When these 4 points are complete, the connection line between the third and fourth point will be used as the new current baseline. In other words, the connection line between the third and fourth points will intersect with the connection line between the first and second points to form a closure and complete the frame. If the angle is less than 15 degrees or greater than 165 degrees, it will be automatically connected. Now, let us move on to using Draw by Perpendicular, which enables users to draw polylines or polygons whose adjacent sides are vertical according to the layer type. In this surface layer, for example, we can start by clicking on Draw by Perpendicular in the element editor. First, draw 2 points to determine a baseline, and then add a point to establish a line perpendicular to the baseline. This newly added perpendicular line will become the current baseline. Click to create a fourth last point, aiming to position it so that the connection line between the fourth and first point is perpendicular to the current baseline. Then, click on the first point to close and complete the frame. This concludes the video on auxiliary functions in the element editor. Thank you for watching.